What if I told you that 7 hours a day could completely transform your life, not just your career, not just your bank account, but your identity? Stay with me until the end, because the final lessons will truly change your perspective on what hard work really means. If you don't command your time, the world will quietly, ruthlessly command it for you, and it won't even apologize. I learned this lesson long before the world knew my name. Long before red carpets and flashing cameras, in the small, ordinary mornings when the alarm rang and I had a choice. Hit snooze and surrender, or rise and take ownership. Time is not just minutes on a clock. It is identity in motion. It is your dreams asking for discipline. When I first stepped into unfamiliar spaces, leaving behind everything comfortable and known, I realized something that shook me. Nobody was coming to manage my hours for me. No one was going to protect my ambition. The world is loud. It demands replies, reactions, availability. Notifications pull at you. Expectations press on you. Other people's urgency start feeling more important than your own calling. And slowly, without realizing it, your day gets spent but not invested. That's the danger. You can be busy all day and still be building nothing. Owning your time means deciding before the world decides for you what truly matters. It means waking up and saying, these next 7 hours belong to my growth, not to scrolling, not to comparison, not to proving something to someone who isn't even watching that closely. To you, think of your time like a house. If you leave the doors open, anyone can walk in. Distractions, doubts, other people's drama. But when you guard it, when you consciously choose what enters and what doesn't, your house becomes a sanctuary. There were moments in my journey when rejection knocked loudly, auditions that didn't go my way, opportunities that slipped through my fingers. In those moments, it was tempting to waste hours replaying conversations, questioning my worth, drowning in what ifs. But I had to ask myself, is this how I want to spend the only non-renewable currency I have? Because that's what time is. You can earn back money, you can rebuild reputation, but you cannot reclaim a wasted day. And here's the spiritual truth. How you treat your time is how you treat your time, is how you treat yourself. When you constantly give your hours away to things that don't align with your purpose, you are silently telling yourself, my dreams can wait, but dreams don't wait. They either grow with your attention or fade with your neglect. Commanding your time doesn't mean becoming rigid or robotic. It means becoming intentional. It means choosing creation over consumption. It means understanding that 7 focused hours can change your life more than 14 distracted ones. Imagine planting a seed. If you water it consistently, protect it from storms, give it sunlight, it grows. But if you leave it exposed, forget it, let weeds choke it, you cannot blame the soil. Your goals are the same. They require protected time, sacred time. And let me be honest with you, the world will test this commitment. Friends will question why you're unavailable. Social media will tempt you with endless comparison. Your own mind will whisper, you can start tomorrow, but tomorrow is a habit. If you surrender today, you will surrender again. Ownership begins in the smallest decisions. Putting your phone away for an hour, saying no without guilt, setting boundaries that honor your focus. These choices seem tiny, almost invisible, but they are powerful declarations of self-respect. And here's what most people don't realize. When you command your time, you don't just become more productive, you become more peaceful. Because clarity replaces chaos. Direction replaces confusion. You start ending your day knowing you moved forward, even if only by an inch. That inch compounds. that inch becomes confidence. And confidence changes how you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you dream. If this truth is stirring something inside you right now, don't ignore it, because the lessons ahead are even more powerful. And if you leave before the final points, you regret missing the deeper transformation waiting for you. This is just the beginning. Ownership of time is the doorway, but there is more, so much more to understand about purpose, energy, consistency, and identity. Stay with me. Protect your hours. Claim them fiercely, because the moment you decide your time is sacred, the world starts treating it that way too. 7 hours of panic will drain your soul, but 7 hours of purpose will ignite it, and that difference will shape your destiny. There is a kind of hard work that feels heavy, mechanical, almost suffocating. You wake up already tired, already anxious, already chasing something you can't even name. I felt that pressure, the silent expectation to constantly prove, constantly perform, constantly be more. When you work from pressure, your mind is racing ahead of you. Your heart is lagging behind, and your spirit is nowhere in the room. You're moving, but you're not aligned. And alignment is everything. The truth is, hard work without purpose is like rowing a boat without knowing which shore you're headed toward. You can exhaust yourself in motion and still arrive nowhere meaningful. I remember moments in my journey when opportunities came with glitter, but not with grounding. On the surface, they looked impressive. They promised visibility, applause, validation. But when I asked myself quietly, does this serve who I want to become? The answer wasn't always yes. And that question, that pause changed everything. Because purpose is not about what looks good. It's about what feels true. When you connect your 7 hours to something deeper than fear, those hours stop feeling like sacrifice and start feeling like devotion. Think about the difference between studying for an exam because you're terrified of failing, and studying because you're terrified of failing, and studying because you genuinely want to master your craft. The first tightens your chest, the second expands your mind. Fear can push you, yes, but only love for your vision can sustain you. Purpose is that love. It's the quiet knowing that what you're building matters, even if no one sees it yet. And here's the spiritual truth. When your why is clear, your endurance multiplies. You can withstand criticism. You can survive rejection. You can outlast doubt, because you're not working to silence the world. You're working to honor your calling. There were days when I stepped onto sets exhausted, emotionally stretched, navigating unfamiliar cultures and expectations. But when I remembered why I began, to tell stories, to represent voices that deserve to be seen, to challenge my own limits, something shifted inside me. Fatigue became fuel. Obstacles became teachers. That's what purpose does. It transforms effort into meaning. It turns repetition into ritual. It makes discipline feel sacred instead of forced. And let me tell you something many people overlook. Purpose. E is not always loud. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's simply the desire to become better than you were yesterday. Sometimes it's wanting to create stability for your family or to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than your fears suggest. Do not underestimate those reasons. They are powerful, but you must define them clearly. If you don't define your purpose, the world will assign you one, usually based on comparison, competition, or insecurity. And that borrowed purpose will never fulfill you. So before you begin your 7 hours, pause. Ask yourself, who am I becoming through this work? Not just what am I achieving, but who am I evolving into? Because success without alignment feels empty. Achievement without meaning feels fragile. Purpose anchors you. It keeps you steady when applause fades and criticism rises. And if this realization is resonating with you right now, stay with me, because the lessons ahead are even more powerful, and you'll regret missing the deeper truths that follow. We are only building the foundation. There is more about focus, energy, consistency, and identity that will redefine how you see your effort. But it all begins here, with purpose. When your work is connected to something greater than ego, it becomes an offering. When it's connected to growth, it becomes transformation. 7 hours a day, aligned with a clear why, can reshape not just your career but your character. And characters is destiny. So don't just work hard. Work awake. Work aware. Work with intention, beating at the center of every task. Because when purpose leads, pressure loses its power. And that is when your 7 hours stop feeling like a burden and start becoming the bridge to the life you were meant to build. 7 hours of hard work can either feel like chaos scattered across your day, or like a symphony, intentional, powerful, and deep. Apply transformative, and the difference lies in focus. We live in a world that glorifies multitasking, that celebrates being busy, that confuses constant movement with meaningful progress. But let me tell you, something I've learned through years of balancing film sets, business meetings, travel, and personal life: divided attention creates diluted results. When your mind is fractured, your effort is weakened. Imagine trying to light a fire with sunlight. If the rays are scattered, nothing happens. But if you concentrate that light through a lens, it becomes powerful enough to ignite. Your focus is that lens. Without it, your 7 hours disappear into emails, notifications, distractions, and mental noise. With it, those same 7 hours become unstoppable. I remember standing on set during long shooting days, surrounded by cameras, crew, movement, pressure. It would have been easy to let my mind wander, to think about the next project, the reviews, the expectations, waiting outside that scene. But the magic only happened when I was fully present in that exact moment, when I allowed myself to sink into one line, one emotion, one breath. That's when performance turned into art. And that's the secret most people overlook. Excellence is born in presence. If you spend your work hours constantly switching between tasks, constantly checking your phone, constantly reacting instead of creating, your brain never goes deep enough to produce mastery. Shallow focus produces shallow results. Deep focus produces transformation. So break your 7 hours into sacred blocks. Treat each block as an appointment with your future self, one that cannot be casually cancelled. When you are working, truly work. When you are learning, truly learn. When you are resting, truly rest. There is something profoundly spiritual about being fully where your feet are. It quiets anxiety. It silences comparison. It builds confidence because you know you gave that moment your all. And here's something powerful. Focus is a form of respect. Act respect for your dreams. Respect for your potential. Respect for your potential. Respect for the life you say you want. Every time you allow distraction to pull you away, you are unconsciously telling your goals they can wait. But when you guard your attention fiercely, you are declaring that your growth matters. I've seen incredibly talented people sabotage themselves, not because they lacked skill, but because they lacked sustained focus. They started passionately, but their energy was scattered across too many things. And slowly, momentum faded. Protecting your focus might mean uncomfortable choices. It might mean turning down invitations. It might mean setting boundaries with people who don't understand your vision. It might mean sitting alone in silence when the world is noisy. But that solitude, that discipline, is where clarity is born. Think of your attention as a garden. If you water every random weed that pops up, every notification, every gossip, every unnecessary task. Your real plants never thrive. But if you intentionally nourish only what aligns with your purpose, your garden flourishes. This is how you turn 7 hours into something extraordinary, by giving each hour a singular intention. And if you're feeling called out right now, if you're recognizing how often your focus slips away, stay with me, because the lessons ahead are even more powerful, and you'll regret missing the deeper shifts that follow. We're only uncovering the surface of what it truly means to master your time. The truth is, focus builds self-trust. When you consistently show up and immerse yourself fully in your work, you start believing in your own discipline. That belief becomes confidence, and confidence changes.